Doesn't the engine bay look so fantastic when you start to add a few bits? That's the manifold sorted.
Thanks for the description.
Oh, hang on, we're alive. Next job, start. Hello, my workshop chums. Welcome to An MG Is Born, the very last programme in the series in which we will get to test drive my new baby for the very first time. Now, it's 3 days since we last saw you, and we've done quite a lot, but there's still loads more to do. You will see instantly we have the bonnet in place, and it looks gorgeous and it fits beautifully, but I'm not going to let you see the top surface of it until later in the programme, because it looks fantastic. We've also put in things like this new electric fan in here and its control system, absolutely brilliant. And obviously, you can see we have got the front bumper on, which was a bit of a nightmare to fit, because the new bumpers you buy are all a bit twisted and not terribly good, to be honest, and so it ended up by fixing one end and then jacking the other end up to get it to fit and look absolutely perfect before tweaking all the nuts up. Now, that brings me on to a problem with restoring cars that we have faced time and time again, and this is probably the worst example of it. Nearly everything we bought to go on this car as a new item hasn't fitted, and we've had to make it fit. This is a good example, the headlight, OK? New item. This is a new item, the bit that goes round the headlight, OK? That is supposed to fit in there. There is absolutely no way that that will fit without modifying it, because the glass is clearly too big for the bowl at the back. Don't put up with it, is my argument. When I talk to all the suppliers, they all say, ooh, it's all a price point thing, it's a budget thing, people won't pay the money. Pay a bit more money, tell them you'll pay a bit more money, and you'll get better quality kit. All right, that's my rant, we've got to move on. Next job, little side strips down the side of the car. It's the job all MG restorers absolutely hate. The chrome strips fit along this swage line on the car here. It's like a bump, a ridge that goes all the way front to back on the car. And the chrome strips are these, which are in 3 parts. One for the front wing, there, one for the door, and one for the rear wing. Now, the good thing about these chrome strips are that if you get them right, you can artificially create a straight line down the car, even if actually on the panels they're not perfectly in line, which I have to say is almost an impossibility on an MG to get them in line. So these are actually very handy, but if you get it wrong, it looks absolutely pants. So the first thing you do is get hold of a load of this and put it on the body, because you're going to start drawing on it. You're going to line that up. Next job is to get yourself a rule. Next, you need to mark off where the holes are going to be for the fixing. Job done. Right, we're going to leave that for now, and we're going to put on the front and the rear ones, because the holes are already pre-drilled for those, and then we're going to come back to this to check it afterwards. Always measure 400 times before you start drilling any holes. These little trim clips are like female press studs. The edge will then clip into the trim itself. By the way, that black stuff I'm putting on there is a wax oil. Yeah. So there's the rear one on as well. So now it's the tricky bit of getting the door sorted for drilling. This is the strip. What you need to make sure is that that end's got a little bit of a chamfer on it compared to that end. And the chamfered bit comes this end of the door, the leading edge of the door, because you can see it's on a slight angle there. Now, if you line up that trim with the one at the front and the one at the back, draw along the top and along the bottom of that, take it off and see whether your original line was in the right place. And as you'll see here, the centre is more like about there. So what we've done now is measure halfway between the top and bottom line, because it's much more important to get it visually right than anything else, and remarked where those holes are going to be. I've already drilled some of them. One more to do, which is the big hole in the centre, because in the door, the stud goes in the centre of the door, whereas obviously on the front wing it was at the front, rear wing it was at the rear. So a bit of drilling, and then we'll fix it on. So that's in position. Right, onto the door trim now. This is the old door card from one side, pretty grotty as you can see, but expected after 30 odd years. And this is the door cap that goes onto the door. This is the inner rubbing strip for the window, and this is the first bit we've got to put onto the door before we can put the card in place. So what we've got laid out on the bench is all the door fittings for one door, and you can see new card looks absolutely glorious. That'll go on a bit later on, and this is the new door capping, brand new piece, reupholstered. Only problem is, yet again, it's not actually made to exactly the spec of the original. To start with, you can see a massive difference in profile of the two ends there. That in itself is not a major problem. What is a problem is the fact that this rebate here, where it's been routed out on the wooden former, is much deeper, about twice the depth of the one on the original. Now you think, oh, well, that's not a huge problem. It is a problem when you put on the mounting brackets, because if I put the new mounting bracket on the old one, you can see it fits nice and flush there. Put it on the new one, and you can see it's set back, which means you won't be able to mount it properly onto the door. So what you do, take off the old plate, carve it up with a grinder, and use it as a little spacer. That will sit on there like that, nicely flush with the top. OK, screw that in. And then you can see what's really nice about this using an original bracket as your spacer is you get a really nice finish. It's nice, that, isn't it? Like everybody like that? Enthusiasm's great, isn't it, eh? I like it! So there we go. Not doing this up tightly at the moment. And then the new door card. So slotting it up in place. All these clips line up with the holes that you can see here. OK, that's the door handle on. A couple of bits of trim to go around the latch mechanism here. My lovely chrome window winder. There we go, very nice. One door done. I can't tell you how long I have been waiting for this moment to get rid of these horrible, scuzzy wheels that I borrowed off a mate of mine whilst I had my Rostyles blasted, and then we got them painted, and then I hand-painted all the black in to end up with wheels that look like this, and they are absolutely glorious. I just pop one on just to get that look. They all look fantastic, but obviously the bit I haven't done is to put this bit, the rubber bit, on the steel bit. I haven't got the kit to do that here in the workshop, but I have got a mate called Chris just down the road in the village. He's a top bloke who always helps me out when I need tyres on and I need a bit of wheel balancing. And if you ever wondered when you take your car to have some new tyres put on, what they do when they balance the wheels, Chris is the man to tell you. Now, does that look good or what? Look at that.
First thing you need is obviously the wheel to fit the tyre on. So you drop that into the centre of the clamps. That centres the wheel automatically. Then you want your tubeless valve, which I've lubricated up so it doesn't damage it pulling it through. Lubricate the edge of the tyre and drop the tyre over the rim. Bring the head down over the top of this little shoe here and under there. And you just watch, make sure the tyre's located, and that's that. Back on the valve, and now we want to balance the wheel. Put that onto the shaft there. Right, so you measure the distance the wheel is away from the machine, 98. Rim diameter is 14. Press the start button, and that'll take about 6 or 7 seconds to work out how much weight and where to go. And there we are, 75. So, behind the wheel till the red dot lights up, pull the backing off of the sticky weight. That goes on top dead centre there. Press the start button, and assuming I've got it right, it'll read 0. That's it, and that's one wheel done. There we go.
You've heard me say it before, wheels maketh the car, and this car is no exception. Those Rostars look absolutely brilliant. The only wheel that Chris couldn't help me with, of course, is the steering wheel. This was the original beauty, which, frankly, is only suitable for the bin, because it's being replaced by this. Now, is that a gorgeous wheel or what? Drops on its own boss, and it'll sit there like that. I'll put the screws in a second, and then in the centre will go this wonderful MG badge. It's a bit of a tight fit, but it will sit something like that. The only problem, my legs and arms aren't long enough. There we go. One gorgeous seat and one for me. 4 bolts for each seat. And job's a good one. Look at that! Looks like a proper car now. Only a few little jobs left now to complete the restoration. Very exciting. This is one of the jobs left. It's to replace the lenses from the indicators and side lights. This is the original one off the car, which is actually in OK condition and would clean up, but we had to replace the one on the other side because it was broken. When we bought a new one, you can see a completely different colour in the orange. So, unfortunately, we've had to say goodbye to the original, and we've got a matching pair. They have a lovely chrome surround, which is the original chrome surround, and I tell you the difference when you have original chrome, the quality is just so much better than anything you can buy now. Once it's together, it will look fantastic. Just be a bit delicate with these because they could easily snap. As soon as you add some colour on here, this paintwork just looks absolutely brilliant. So to all those people who said to me, "Ooh, that's a really dull grey. Looks like primer with a bit of clear coat on," think again. Ooh, scrumptious. It's the very last job, the grille that basically says, yes, this is a restored MG. It's brand new grille, and it slots in absolutely beautifully. Just a few bolts hold that in place, but that is what we've waited the best part of 6 months for. And doesn't that look absolutely brilliant? Right, that's it for part 1. Join me after the break. There's a bit of cleaning to be done, and then my very first test drive. It's going to be fab. Can't wait. Welcome back to An MG is Born, and yes, this is it, the new baby, but you're not allowed to see it in its entirety until I've finished polishing it and you've had a good reminder of just what a shed this car was when we brought it back to the workshop just 13 weeks ago. Thank you very much. Whoa, thank you. That is horrible. This wing's completely shot. He's going to have a grump on now. Some of the bodywork problems are really obvious. For instance, the front wings, the door skins and the rear wings. Each of the castle rails is completely shot through, particularly at the front here, so the whole of this needs replacing. So we won't be using that again. So that all slots in there quite nicely. Happy with that? The body's back from the blasters. All this has got to be chopped out. So the one panel there is all clamped in place, and the next one is nearly ready. You can see the finished job. We've got to get on and put the rear wing on. It is exactly the silver I wanted. Right, leave it there for now. Let's have a look. Taxi! The body shell is back with us. This is obviously the rear axle. The next thing is to turn the thing over. Good job. Now we can get the wheels on. Hey, what do you think? The next job is to put in the engine and the gearbox, and the gearbox has to go in first.
Okay, removing the cam bearings.
Tell you what, it's very heavy, this. This is one of the 4 new pistons that guide it in onto the crank. It's going. Put on the flywheel, clutch on. We're putting the engine in! We're not far off with that drive shaft. You can spin that over.
Let's just gently drop these in.
The brand new mohair hood. Taut as a drum. Next job, start. 13 weeks ago, it feels more like 13 years, I have to say. It's only a little car, but it's been a hell of a restoration. When I bought the car, I thought I'd actually got a bit of a gem. Yes, a bit tatty around the edges, but I thought, yes, we can do something with this and it won't be too hard. How wrong I was. It may be a little car, but it does take a lot of restoring, particularly this car. The first 8 weeks were nothing other than metalwork, and to be honest, it gets you down. The day in, day out drudgery of just simply cutting out all the rot and putting in new panels, and you really feel you're getting absolutely nowhere. But then, slowly but surely, you buy in the parts, you start to build up all the bits that are going to go on the car, and you start to see that, yes, maybe we will get to a point where we have a finished car that we can drive. And it's a top car, this. The MGB is one of the sexiest little sports cars that has ever been made. But it's only in the last week or so that all of us in the workshop, me and Les basically, have got to a point where we thought, yes, it's coming together. Our dream. We had the colour issue that a lot of people said, ooh, it looks like you've painted it in primer. But we said, no, we want a classy look to this car. The red leather interior, now set off against the grey bodywork, looks absolutely brilliant. It's everything I ever wanted out of an MGB. I think it's glorious, but then maybe I'm a little biased. You take a look round it and make up your own mind. So was I right? Do you like it as much as I do? I think it's fantastic. It looks glorious from the outside. It looks even better from where I'm sitting now. But the whole point of an MGB Roadster is driving it. Everybody tells me they are beautiful little cars to drive, but I've never driven one, apart from this when I first got it just to check we'd got gears. So a little trip out is what's in order to see how she goes. Sounds gorgeous, doesn't she? Right, here we go. Are we ready? We're going. Second, third. That's all 4 gears. Sweet little car, baby. Well, that's it from An MG is Born. We obviously hope you've enjoyed watching us restore this car as much as we have restoring it. But it is quite a traditional car, and I do like to be a little bit controversial. So there's one little addition to this car that I've left right for the end. Yes, lovely. Hey, what do you think of that?
Can't do that.
What do you mean I can't do that? Get letters, you reckon? Wait till they see the back end. See you next time.